September 9th, 2010 in the Nut and Fancy project. Hello TNPrs, hello world. Time for another giveaway. I'll get to the details here in just a second. First, a little bit of background information. Yes, I am a gear reviewer, but actually I consider myself first and foremost a gear consumer, a buyer just like you. I want to go to places that have really good prices and really good service. That's motivational for me still. That is a key element of the Nut and Fancy project. If you've watched for any length of time, you guys know that. When I started the Nut and Fancy project, and as it's continued to grow, that has not changed. And the other side of that is I want to find really good gear suppliers that are reliable, that are true to what I feel are key principles guiding TNP. Low cost, great service. One of those places is yourcornerstore.com. At this point in the Nut and Fancy project, they've been partners with us, I don't know, about a year and a half, maybe a little bit more. And when I talked to Mike at YCS, I told him, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about recommending you as my go-to knife place. And let me start off by saying, too, that I think there's some other great knife places out there. In fact, if you look at my channel page, on the right-hand side in my links bar, you'll see A.G. Russell listed. I love A.G. Russell. New Graham Knives, Knives Plus. All great places. The reason I first and foremost support and promote yourcornerstore.com is to save you money. You know, almost without fail, if I go out looking for a knife model for myself, for the review, you know, I go to YCS and he's beating everybody's prices by $7, $10, $15, sometimes $20, depending on the knife model. It's pretty consistent, and it has been. And like I was saying, when I turned YCS on, I said, hey Mike, you know, I'll recommend you. And I say this to all my retailers without fail. It's like, but first and foremost, my loyalty is to my subscriber. And you know, if I feel like you're deviating from that formula of good service, you know, good prices, and I don't, you know, and I consistently hear good things about you, then rock on. You know, you're going to be continually supported and promoted in the Nut and Fancy project to help my TNPrs out. And he was good with that. He's like, I understand that, and I'm good with that. Appreciate it. Well, a bit of time has passed since then, and Mike has stayed true to that formula. He's my go-to place for blades. A lot of the blades you see in the Nut and Fancy project that I review, just like you, I go to YCS.com and I place an order, just like you. His prices are low. His service is great. And it's interesting, this is an interesting development too, that in our last giveaway after SHOT Show, that YCS.com, we gave away some, I think, gift certificates or something. I forget exactly what it was. And some of our winners, actually one of our winners was overseas. And that was a big deal because your corner store did not ship overseas at the time. It was a giveaway, so I don't feel like I have any leverage at all with my manufacturers. I could exercise some. I won't. I'm very grateful they roll in any giveaway. And, you know, I'm not going to say, hey, you need to ship overseas. But Mike stepped up to the plate, and he shipped overseas. That shipping alone costs like $35 for him. If you know YCS, you know his margins are very low. Okay? So, and that's kind of a reality check of where he's at. In other words, it's not that the other websites are charging exorbitant amounts. They're actually charging reasonable amounts. It's that Mike has chosen to go quantity over, you know, larger price per unit. And that's how he's able to survive, because he does not make a lot on each knife sold. He stepped up to the plate though for that European shipment for a TNPr who won the giveaway. Very cool. And then after that, Mike goes, you know what? I think I'm just going to open up international shipping as an outgrowth of his association with the Nut and Fancy project in that giveaway. So that was a cool development. We got lots of awesome TNPrs all over the world. We love all our guys in Canada, Australia. We have several in Asia. We got tons all throughout Europe. We love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. And that will continue. So yourcornerstore.com has stayed true to these elements which I've described. We appreciate it, and as such, he's continually talked about in the Nut and Fancy project as a source for you guys to save money. Okay, on to the crux. Mike every so often emails me. Actually, once in a while he'll say, hey, let's do another giveaway, and he just did that. So this is Mike's idea, and I appreciate it. He's like, let's do another giveaway in the Nut and Fancy project. Let's do a $100 gift certificate. I'm like, cool, man. And we were going to do like some other stuff. I think we may turn that on at a later date. But right now, a $100 gift certificate is going to be given to one lucky TNPr. And here I've just talked about Europe and everything. Here's the downside. You have to be in the United States or Canada to win. I know. My European guys are like, dude, you said you loved us. We do love you. But again, it's a giveaway, okay? And in a giveaway, I'm not going to exert any leverage on my suppliers to suck up a $35, $40 shipping charge in a giveaway. It's just, I just don't feel like that's right. So, Mike's opened it up to Canada, though. That's good. Opened it up to the United States. And Verilinus and myself will choose the winner. It is not random. It cannot be random because there has to be a certain age. They have to be in a certain locale. So we got to look at it. And this is for TNPrs. So it's established supporters of the Nut and Fancy project. You know, if I opened it up to anybody do make an account, subscribe to Nut and Fancy, maybe I can win a giveaway. No. The Nut and Fancy project is where it is today. It has the clout that it has today because of the Nut and Fancy supporter. Okay? TNPrs, we call them. Okay? That's why. So if I call up a manufacturer, the reason they're so willing to throw in on these giveaways, give discounts, give factory tours, give all the cool things is because they've already heard from you, especially after I've done a review on their products. You guys call them, say, yeah, I saw your stuff on Nut and Fancy project, dig it. And then when I call them, they're like, oh yeah, dude, we'd love to have you. So it's you guys. Thank you very much. Is there a downside to yourcornerstore.com? Yes, there is a downside to it. There's always a downside, right? And that is when I review a knife, it pretty much sells out if I reviewed it favorably. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. I'm not even kidding with you. And it's not just knives. It could be action targets. Those guys sold out within, I don't know, 48 hours. They're 300% over stock. Still gone. They did really well in catching up. Silencer Co. got caught flat-footed with the demand from the video. Arsenal. It's gone on, and I'm humbled by it, but it's kind of bad for the Nut and Fancy fan who wants to go get it and they can't find it. So he does sell out. You go to yourcornerstore.com and he doesn't have some blades. I know. Again, the consumer side of me hates that. And I've talked to Mike about it. I was like, dude, why are you out of stock? Right now he has a 10% off Kershaw sale going on. So I want to go snag a Kershaw blade or two. And I'm like, dude, no Kershaw. What is up? And he says he's working the issue as best he can with his manufacturers. And so if he doesn't have the blade, from what Mike tells me, it's because his manufacturers aren't getting it to him. Okay, and like I said, YCS not the only game in town. There's some other great suppliers. We might even associate with those in different ways as years go on, but I've been real happy with YCS. Okay, and again, he's throwing his support behind TNP as he's always done. We've had several giveaways from YCS over the time. What is it, year and a half, whatever. And here we go again. So it's $100. I'm going to give this about a week, maybe 10 days, and we'll announce the winner. We got more giveaways coming too. We got a huge giveaway coming from another retailer that is going to blow your mind. Seriously. I won't tell the details of that. That'll be its own thing. And it's actually a lot of work for Very and I to proctor all this because we got to get the names and make sure people are, living where they say they are and the addresses are correct. It's a lot of work. But it's fun. And it's fun getting you guys free gear. That's my whole motivation, by the way. Maybe not free gear, but gear at good prices, good value. Because, again, that's the consumer side of me. I don't like getting ripped off. Okay, I don't like, spending more than I have to. I want to stretch my knife dollar, my gun dollar, my tactical gear dollar as far as I can, just like you do. And that's what I want. I love the high value stuff too. In fact, if you look, my playlist and what I've been reviewing, it's mostly high value stuff. I may go high end once in a while, and I definitely will in the future because I think there's a market for that too. There's TNPrs that like the high-end stuff. I think the majority like the mid-range price stuff. Maybe some lower range here and there, but mostly mid-range, high value, good stuff, and that's what I concentrate on. Okay, that's the Nut and Fancy and Your Corner Store giveaway, September 2010. Thank you to Mike. Thank you to YCS. Thank you to Very, who does so much work keeping this project rolling along as I crank out the creative process of the Nut and Fancy project. Signing off, this is Nut and Fancy. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.